Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for National Accessibility Week. My name is Lorne Neufeld. I'm an Employment Integration Specialist with CVE, helping out with their YES project. The Youth Employment Skills Strategy Project, or the YES project, helps youth from 15 to 30 find meaningful employment. This week we want to talk a little bit about the barriers that people with disabilities face on a daily basis. And let's talk about the physical or architectural barriers first. As a guide dog user, I find some stairs and depending on landings and different entryways to be a big challenge. Going up the stairs is a lot easier, but when you're going down the stairs and you have no depth perception, it can be something that can be very daunting for many people. You do have other disability groups, like people in wheelchairs, that do have to require ramps, or the task of getting them up and down stairs can be a very big challenge, as you do have it with other people with disabilities. Railings are a huge asset for multiple people with disabilities, as are ramps for people in wheelchairs and also with walkers and other mobility devices. So some of those things can be extremely helpful, but often oversought. So that's definitely one thing that we want to keep in mind, is that whenever we're looking at a place, to look for accessibility issues and bring that up to either the store manager or else the person in charge that you're dealing with, to let them know that, hey, we do need some more accessibility help in these areas. Some of the other ones that can be very difficult are glass doors. Usually are very heavy and can be very difficult for people that either have issues opening doors or, again, with mobility aids. So walkers, wheelchairs, if they do not have the accessibility buttons, then it can be very difficult to try to open and either move a walker or wheelchair through that door. So again, having accessibility aids like a push button to open the doors can be very beneficial, and to many people can be a lifeline for allowing them into those public places. Some of the other ones that are very helpful are the extra wide doors for people in either power scooters, wheelchairs, or just if you have a guide dog, to get both of you through those. So those can be very helpful as well. Turnstile doors or the revolving doors are very difficult for many people, and again, for the same reasons, having a wheelchair going through that is almost impossible. Having a guide dog can be extremely difficult doing that, so using the accessibility door or allowing the building to be aware that they do need to have a push button to open the door is, again, something that we should really focus on and stress. The other one we're going to talk about is technology. So technology can be very helpful, but it can also be a detriment depending on when it doesn't work right. Some of the main technology that people that are blind or visually impaired will use are screen readers. So what that is it's attached to a computer, an iPhone, or any of the other type of iOS devices. You can get it on Windows machines as well. Android does have a version of it as well, and it is used a little differently than the other ones. But a screen reader will actually read everything on the screen for you, and it's like using your computer without having to use your eyes, and it's all voice. It can be very beneficial for people that are blind, but also people that have dyslexia or a print disability, to be able to read exactly what's on the screen and have the ability to really understand and to communicate better with their computer. You have ones that are specifically on the Mac called VoiceOver, and on Windows there is two that is either called Zoom Text, and then you also have one that is JAWS, and the other one is NVDA. Now, JAWS and NVDA are both strictly screen readers, as Zoom and Zoom Text are ones for people that are low vision. Those ones are usually used by people with dyslexia as well as print disabilities, because it's more beneficial instead of just having to read the entire screens to them. So those are some of the things with technology. I do know that there are many different forms of talking technology. So talking GPS, you do have things like the Apple Watch, which will vibrate on your wrist to show you either if you have to go left or right. It does help people that are deafblind as well to really interact with all the dots and all the vibrations on their wrist in regards to what they're doing specifically. So it can be a very beneficial tool. And then you have other situations like if you're in a wheelchair. Now, technology has helped people navigate with wheelchairs in multiple ways, including something as simple as push buttons to open up doors. You also have push button locks, and you do now have washing machines and dryers that can be as used just by a push of a button. So it can be very beneficial and can be set up for people with multiple disabilities to really use a lot of the technology. With the beginning of smart technology, you're now able to really use kitchen appliances with just your voice and either a Google Home or an Amazon Alexa or the Apple Home kit. So you have those types of devices that can be very beneficial. For example, in my home, I have smart lights, so I can ask Google to dim the lights, to increase them, to change them to whichever hue I need to, as I do have a light sensitivity. So that has been very beneficial. I can also talk to my Nest thermostat and increase and decrease the temperature if I need to, turn on the air conditioner, turn on the heat. So when you have items like that, that can really help make it easier for you. Now, if you are going to school, there are multiple other technologies that you can use as well. So you have things like magnifiers for people with low vision that are a big screen, and it has a camera on the bottom with a movable table usually, and you can zoom in, zoom out, you can change the different contrasts to it, and it really helps people that can see very little really blow it up and be able to get everything from that print media that's possible. If you're looking at people with full blindness, then you do have different displays like braille displays, for example. There are many different types and brands of braille displays, and they are just a like a they look like a keyboard, and it has refreshable braille that will pop up and pop down and will refresh as you're reading. So those can be incorporated with smartphones, those can be incorporated by themselves or also with computers. So that'll help people that are going to school, but also people that really want to use a computer without necessarily using the screen reader because they can navigate around the computer with a braille display. If you do have other types of disabilities, again, like dyslexia or a print disability, the magnifiers do have the ability to talk. So they have text to speech where it would take a picture and it processes it and then it starts talking to you. So something like that can be extremely beneficial. You can find that just on a smartphone. You can also find that on an iPad or a tablet as well. You just need to get the special software. And with the Apple products, it is built right into it, or else it is free depending on the amount of use that you want to get. Then you have other forms of, I guess, transportation and really trying to go out and about, and things like audible crosswalks, where if you hold the button down for 5 seconds, you will hear a secondary beep, and that will engage the sounds on the crosswalk. So if you do have that capability near the crosswalk where you're at, try it. It's usually a circular metal button. You would hold it down once, it beeps, and then if you keep holding it, you'll hear it beep a second time. That has engaged the audio on it, and it will either make a chirping or a tune depending on which way you are going. So that can be extremely beneficial for everybody with disabilities. And then you have other ones that will allow you to hear the beeping, and then once the beeping changes, then you know it's good as well. So there are a few different types used within Ottawa, so I would suggest that you go to your nearest crosswalks and really figure out which one's the best for you and how to use it properly, as that's kind of a secret that a lot of people do not know about. And then you also have other forms of transportation, like you do have a accessibility transit for many people with disabilities. So I know here in Ottawa we do have paratranspo, and what you have to do is you just fill out some paperwork, you get your doctor to sign, and they will take you door to door for that. So the transportation can be very quick and it can be very convenient depending on the amount of traveling you have to do. There are many different types that are in many different locations, so I would suggest that either you contact your local transportation agency or contact your city hall, and they will be able to help you out a lot more. Then you do have other forms of, I guess, accessibility, so just day-to-day living. Especially with being at home, we aren't traveling or doing as much anymore, so we really need to make our spaces more accessible. So some of the best ways of doing that are putting railings up if you do need the railings, making more accessible, I guess, doorways. So I've heard of people actually taking off the doors completely and allowing them to go through back and forth without having any types of issues, which can be very good. I do know many locations do allow you to get a ramp in your house, and usually a provincial program will pay for that if you do need it. So that's one thing to look into. And there are many different ways of overcoming barriers. And one of the biggest things that I find personally are attitudes. So I find that you do get people that are, very sad, which can be 100% warranted. But then you have other people that are saying, you know what, I'm going to take this full frontal, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to take it on, and I'm not going to let it slow me down. And I feel that once you can figure out how to really make it and really utilize it, that will allow you to overcome any other types of barriers that you do have. As I always like to tell all my clients and everybody that I meet, because I have been visually impaired since a child, is you are a person and then you are a disability. So your disability should never tell you who you are, but you should tell your disability who you are. And once we can overcome that and once we can work towards that, now for many different types of people, it's going to be harder said than done, and I fully understand that. And I feel that taking those steps every day, even if they're little baby steps, will eventually allow you to overcome anything that you put your mind to. And if you do have any other questions in regards to employment, any types of issues with, I guess, trying to go through ODSP in Ontario, or if you're interested in being part of the Youth Employment Skills Strategy Project or the YES Project, please definitely reach out either via social media to us, or you can give us a call or go to our website at cve.ca. And until next time, thank you very much, and I hope you have a fantastic National Disability Awareness Week. All right, bye for now.